Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close my ancestors speak, they tell me they're tired of them praying on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak, until they think we are equal. Please, all I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their palms would bleed, begging that generations remember our story.
Yo, what up? My apologies for the delay. I'm super late. I don't like that. I pride myself on being on time. I'm kind of surprised. Like, I am usually here 10-15 minutes before the stream even goes up. So my people, they shot me a message, basically was saying, are we on? I'm like, oh shit. You know what? Let me go back and look real quick, because I might be wrong. I got up this morning. I'm looking at my schedule. I didn't scroll through everything, so I did see just now that I was actually supposed to go on. Had no idea. I was over here uploading and recording. But then I seen it and I'm like, all right, shit. All right. Let me go ahead and jump on this real quick before the time just completely eludes me. Shout outs to my poets, writers, content creators, all that good stuff. Just in case I didn't say it, I'm here, there, up, down. I'm trying to make stuff work, make things shake, blah, blah. Appreciate you. All right. Just so you know it. I won't hold y'all up too long. Not here. I will be back later on. This was something that I wanted to address really quick. Right now in the state of these here United States, there's a narrative being painted that I don't like, an ugly one. And as much as I have to say a lot of death and destruction and hurt and misery has befallen us, there's an agenda. You are trying to insinuate that, well, there's a majority of people who are responsible for all of what we see. And I came across this clip and I said, oh shit, yeah, let's go ahead and do a little quick reminder that everything is not what you think it is. I think we tend to forget this for whatever reason. That, well, I got a clip I'm gonna bring up here on the screen. That's to go ahead and stop there. I'm gonna give my 2 cents or so. And yeah. This young lady was absolutely cooking to me. And I wanted to highlight it for the general public. I'm trying to find my camera angle. It's not there. There it is. Boom. So she kind of just reminded me that it's not just black people out here killing black people and white people and kids, this, that, the third, but there are and has been a large history of white men, more or less, if that more, responsible for what is happening. Don't know why we tend to pretend like this isn't really a thing or not, but I digress. Let's jump to the video.
This is the man who shot Trump. This is the man who killed Melissa Hortman. This is the man who tried to kill John Hoffman. This is the man who tried to kill Paul Pelosi. This is the man who killed an Obama-appointed judge's son. This is the man who hired hitmen to kill Democrats. This is the man who ran over a left-wing activist and killed her. This is the man responsible for the Austin bombing. This is the man who sent pipe bombs to Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton. This is the man who shot Gabby Gifford. This is the man who tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, and this man. And this man. And this man. This man. This man. This man. This man. This man. And this man. This is the man who set Josh Shapiro's house on fire. This is the Oklahoma bomber. This is his accomplice. These are just a few of the men who beat police officers on January 6th. I can think of a few things they have in common, and it's not the way they use their words or their left-wing politics. 2. Killed 10 black people in a Buffalo grocery store. His motive was, quote, to prevent the elimination of the white race. The El Paso Walmart shooter, he shot 45 people, killing 23. He thought he was acting at the request of President Trump to stop the invasion. He also cited the Great Replacement theory. The neo-Schmatzi who killed 9 people at a black church because he, quote, had to do something. This is the Pittsburgh synagogue shooter. His motive was to stop white genocide. This was the Oregon shooter, released on a manifesto where he went on a lengthy rant about black men. This is the Dollar General shooter. His motive was a hatred for black people. Despite previously being involuntarily committed, he was still able to legally purchase the weapon. Florida. This is the Oxford school shooter. His parents gave him a 9mm for an early Christmas gift when he was 15 years old. They were so excited they just couldn't wait till Christmas. This is the FedEx shooter. Police found that he was viewing not like propaganda online, and that he wanted to demonstrate his masculinity. The man went on a shooting spree in Atlanta, killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women. This was the Dayton mass shooter, shot 17 people, killing 9, including his sister, who previously suspended from school for having hit lists and grape lists. The Santa Fe school shooter, one of his victims rejected his romantic advances. This is the Thousand Oaks shooting. This is the Parkland shooter, Sutherland Springs shooter, Las Vegas shooter, the Sandy Hook shooter. This is the Aurora Theater shooter. He had an obsession with killing and chose the weapon that would allow for the maximum amount of casualties. These, of course, are the Columbine shooters. The Chardon school shooter, who was upset that his ex-girlfriend had a new boyfriend. The Georgia school shooter, he is not transgender, no matter how many right-wing AI-generated memes tell you so. Father gave him an AR for Christmas when he was 14.
You know what's interesting? Me personally, and I'm gonna send you a link here in a second. I'm gonna end up running this whole clip back, but I can't stand false propaganda. It really gets under my skin. I can't stand men and women with platforms that use their watered down, infused ideologies based in hatred and lack of knowledge to get in front of hundreds, thousands, dozens of people, whether or not one person is watching, whether or not there's a dozen people watching. I can't stand when people use these platforms super irresponsibly just to push out their own narratives so that you can scare people or intimidate people or put people in a position to pick a side based on your own personal dynamics within the structures that is offered to them. Let me see. Yo.
Hello.
I'm gonna run the clip back again because that was a lot. And on top of that, I got up this morning, I looked at my schedule, and I was like, hold on, did I make something for today? I overlooked it. I thought I didn't. I thought the day was clear, so I just was recording, and then you messaged me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta double check. And yeah, this is the one that I had for this morning. So it's like, all right, I need to make sure I'm fully woke before I start.
Well, my initial thoughts is I agree.
Yeah.
I'll watch the video first.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run it back, bring it back on the screen, and we'll go from there. Let's see. Bada bing, bada boom. And let's get this.
Trump. This is the man who killed Melissa Hortman. This is the man who tried to kill John Hoffman. This is the man who tried to kill Paul Pelosi. This is the man who killed an Obama-appointed judge's son. This is the man who hired hitmen to kill Democrats. This is the man who ran over a left-wing activist and killed her. This is the man responsible for the Austin bombing. This is the man who sent pipe bombs to Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton. This is the man who shot Gabby Gifford. This is the man who tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, and this man. And this man. And this man. This man. This man. This man. This man. This man. And this man. This is the man who set Josh Shapiro's house on fire. This is the Oklahoma bomber. This is his accomplice. These are just a few of the men who beat police officers on January 6th. I can think of a few things they have in common, and it's not the way they use their words or their left-wing politics. 2. Killed 10 black people in a Buffalo grocery store. His motive was, quote, to prevent the elimination of the white race. The El Paso Walmart shooter, he shot 45 people, killing 23. He thought he was acting at the request of President Trump to stop the invasion. He also cited the Great Replacement theory. The neo-Schmatzi who killed 9 people at a black church because he, quote, had to do something. This is the Pittsburgh synagogue shooter. His motive was to stop white genocide. This was the Oregon shooter, released on a manifesto where he went on a lengthy rant about black men. The Dollar General shooter, his motive was a hatred for black people. Despite previously being involuntarily committed, he was still able to legally purchase the weapon. Florida. This is the Oxford school shooter. His parents gave him a 9mm for an early Christmas gift when he was 15 years old. They were so excited they just couldn't wait till Christmas. This is the FedEx shooter. Police found that he was viewing not like propaganda online and that he wanted to demonstrate his masculinity. The man went on a shooting spree in Atlanta, killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women. This was the Dayton mass shooter, shot 17 people, killing 9, including his sister. He previously suspended from school for having hit lists and rape lists. The Santa Fe school shooter, one of his victims rejected his romantic advances. This was the Thousand Oaks shooting. This is the Parkland shooter, Sutherland Springs shooter, Las Vegas shooter, the Sandy Hook shooter. This is the Aurora Theater shooter. He had an obsession with killing and chose the weapon that would allow for the maximum amount of casualties. These, of course, are the Columbine shooters. The Chardon school shooter, who was upset that his ex-girlfriend had a new boyfriend. The Georgia school shooter, he is not transgender, no matter how many right-wing AI-generated memes tell you so. Father gave him an AR for Christmas when he was 14.
Definitely knew all the statistics, but it is very jarring and sad. Like there's a lot of words I could use to just seeing them all back to back to back to back. Like, and also just the number of them as well. Like in general, just the number of mass shooters that we've had in the last, like, this was all within what, 20 years, 30 years. Yeah, having all of those side by side and was just, I have no words. Like that's just crazy that we live in this country, yet Americans are the ones that constantly say, "Oh, America's the safest country in the world." Like, if you go anywhere else, you're in danger of being kidnapped or beaten up or killed and disappeared and all this other, like, people are, they hate Mexico. They hate, I mean, obviously a lot of these places do have their issues, but like, this is the place that people say is the safest. And we're having schools and movie theaters and churches and parking lots and supermarkets and gas stations and any, you name it, there's been a mass shooting there. It's just, it's also frustrating to know that people don't care enough to want to do something about it in the way that would actually be effective. Like, they're so resistant to banning guns, or at least they're resistant to allowing Democrats to ban guns. Yet the Republicans now are compiling their own list of gun owners, which a lot of people are suspecting means that they're planning to start taking away people's rights to have weapons. And it's just incredibly ironic how these individuals are trying to promote so strongly that it's Democrats that are committing all of this violence, when if I remember correctly, pretty much all of those people were right-wing in some way. And they still want to promote this lie that Democrats are the ones who are violent. There was also one that was brought to my attention recently during the No Kings protest this weekend. Over 7 million Americans participated in these marches. Obviously, the majority of them were leftist or kind of in the middle, or they could have even been converted right. Out of that, there was only one episode of violence, only one shooting, and it was done by a MAGA individual who was mad that they were protesting. So even when we have 7 million of us walking the streets angry at what our government is doing to us and to our country, the only people that were violent were people who voted for him. And I keep comparing it to, we had, as I said, 7 million people, no looting, no violence. People weren't breaking windows. People weren't defecating on the ground. Yet we had just 2,000 of their supporters break into the most secure and basically honored buildings in the United States that has been here since what, the early 1800s or late 1700s, and is a symbol of our country. They broke in, they defiled the wall, they graffitied, people were using the restroom on the floor, they were violent towards the police officers, and many of them were carrying weapons. And somehow they're the most violent individuals. I mean, somehow we're the most violent individuals.
I hate, like, with this right here, it was just a reminder, because I've seen it on Google, the list. I mean, there's still endless more, but it's different when you see them, like you said, side by side. One of these main issues that I have, and I said it a few minutes ago, is that you have men and women behind the scenes, behind their computer, behind the camera, writing scripts, and they will say, this is what we will broadcast for today. This is what we're going to cover. And this is what we're going to continue to push out on a daily basis. You don't even, I can understand if we had a news station where they didn't give a fuck about politics. They didn't care about contracts and bonuses and deals and brands, and they just reported the news as it was. It didn't really make a difference on who it was. You just covered it from inside the White House, in a Checkers kitchen. You just talked about all of it, but you're not doing that. You're speaking on specific people to create this fear mongering and this division between a group of people, when I know personally that it's predominantly this over that. But you want me to believe that it's nothing but black people constantly killing each other. They ain't nothing but black people constantly on the news for something. But this is not the truth. As a matter of fact, that's the furthest from it. So when I seen that video, I was thinking to myself, first of all, thank you for reminding me of the country we're in. Secondly, it's nice to see that it didn't take someone of my complexion to address it for what it is. And thank you also for giving me a confirmation that I'm not nuts. I'm not just seeing just this bull being put up here. And okay, yeah, you're right, sir. You're not alone in this. That No King's Day that you speak of, yeah, that was, I don't know how else to put it. You got 7 million people capable of doing that without there being any, they knew the assignment when they went. Everybody knew the assignment. You were waiting for something to happen, so you would have an excuse. Didn't turn out that way. So now what? Why do you think that our programming is the way it is? Why they want to paint this narrative to be something that it really isn't? I can toggle on here right now and it's going to show nothing but missing black kids, missing adults, all of them black on black. You barely see white on white. But then also on top of that, when you do hear crimes about these school shootings and things of that nature, nobody ever talks about it. It only, you get maybe a week and then people move on from it. The level of ignorance in our country is crazy. The woman from yesterday who said she don't want her kids dating black women, she clearly must have forgot her history. Or she just conveniently forgets, oh, yeah, there are people out here that crash out and shoot their own race of a other, like, come on, what are we doing? Why? Why do you keep spinning these stories? It's annoying to me. It really pisses me off. I get tired of it. Every single black person out here in the world is not. Matter of fact, I don't know of many that's responsible for school shootings. There's a few of them. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not the majority. I give her a good, I give her flowers. I know a lot of people came for her.
21% of mass public shootings were committed by Black Americans, but that's from 1966 to 2024. So that covers a much longer period of time than the span of time she showed those individuals. Because I think hers spanned from the 80s up until now. So I imagine, let's see, of the 172 mass shootings studied from 1966, 20% were Black. From 1999 to 2021, 19% were Black. However, in a 2025 analysis from 1966 to 2024, 53% were committed by white Americans. So over half were committed from 1960s to now.
You wouldn't know that if you didn't do the research for it. I mean, the way they talk about it on the news and on Instagram, Facebook, and all these other apps, you would think that this was just primarily black people. But let's say you didn't even do the research and dug. Common sense. Now, I know they cherry pick what they want to cover based on what's going to get them the most ratings. I get that. But, I mean, come on, y'all. You live in some of these areas. Your family live in these areas. I bet that it's more likely. Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I think the snitch code is universal. I think that both sides, they have a different code of ethic when it comes to it. I don't know. It's just weird. If a white kid kills children and kills his girlfriend, it was a crime of passion. Black kid or guy kills his family, it's an abomination. It's not right either way. You're going to cover one thing, cover all of it. Talk about all of it. Don't just spend 80, 90% of the week speaking on a group of folks and not the rest. Stop it. That's how I know they're pushing these agendas on purpose. But yeah, I'm kind of just over it all around. Everybody kills. Everybody has the potential to kill. I should have said it's not just one group. And this was just a reminder to the people to stop assuming that every single time you turn on the TV, it's going to be one way when you should know better than that.
When I first saw the title, I initially thought that this was going to be like, I didn't realize it was just going to be shootings. And because of my background, I immediately thought that it was going to refer to all types of crimes, including environmental crimes. But this still applies because the top polluting companies, the top most damaging companies, are also primarily owned by rich white men. I was looking into it just so I could have some statistics to give you guys. The two most damaging companies out there, BP Oil, ExxonMobil, they're both owned by white men, or they're both led by white men. The BP Oil CEO makes $8 million a year. The ExxonMobil CEO makes $30 million a year. The Nestle Corporation is also responsible for a tremendous amount of pollution, particularly water pollution and output of like physical pollution as well, plastics and stuff. Their CEO makes $30 million. He is also a white man. Nestle, $13 million. He's a white man. Coca-Cola makes $28 million a year. He's a white man. Starbucks makes $95 million. He is also a white man. The biggest bottled water companies, Nestle, Niagara, Primo. Primo owns Arrowhead, Poland Spring, Dealstone, a bunch of the main names that we know. All three of them are white men. And then, as we know, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, the one that owns Oracle, Bill Gates, all the richest tech owners are all white as well. So this does not just, it's not just limited to physical violence, but violence against people, violent, like economic violence, environmental violence, and all of the types of things that they do with their companies to pay for political people that are not supportive of actual human beings and want nothing more than to just gain more and more money. I'm pretty sure the top 10 richest men in the world, richest people in the world, are mostly men. Let's see. Top 10 richest people in the world. Top 10 richest people in the world. Jeff Bezos, white. Larry Ellison, white. Bernard Arnault, white. Mark Zuckerberg, white. Elon Musk, white. Warren Buffett, white. Larry Page, white-ish. He kind of looks a little bit darker, but he definitely looks more white. Sergey Brin, white. Steve Ballmer, white. And again, that's just the top 10. And we know how much power these people have. They control the media. They control the internet. They control social media. They control our food sources, our water sources, our furniture sources, our coffee sources. Like, they own everything. I'm pretty sure the real estate moguls are also primarily white. Yep. Top, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Top 9 real estate billionaires, white. Donald Breen is white. Stephen Ross is white. Leonard Stern is white. Igor Olenkov is white. Jeff Green is white. Ed Rusky is white. Theodore Lerner is white. Neil Bloom is white. John A. Sobrato is white. Even more, Robert Faith is white. Jerry Speyer is white. All of these people that own everything are all white. And as we've seen, they're making it hard for people to have access to housing. They're making it hard for people to have access to fresh, clean water. They're making it hard for nature to have access to its own environment. They're making it difficult for people to have food and, as I said, furniture, necessities at reasonable prices. Even the pharmaceutical billionaires are primarily white as well. Let's see. Top richest billionaires in this. Let's see. Scroll down. Where are you? Come on, load. No, I don't want to pay for that. Let's see. Richest healthcare billionaires. Thomas Frist, he's white. Carl Cook, he's white. Robert Dugan, he's white. Patrick Cheong, he's Asian. Rhonda Stryker, she's white. And Patrick Stryker, he's white. And these guys, the healthcare billionaires, they make even more than the oil companies. In order, 28 billion, 15 billion, 14 billion, 11 billion, 10 billion, 8 billion. So even across the world, these billionaires own everything. Like, that's why they're called the 1%, because the 1% owns like 99% of everything. So this extends to the invisible violence, the type of things that we don't really consider because we don't see it happening in real time. We don't understand how much money is being stolen from us, how much taxes are being diverted to us from them, and the damage that they have on the economic system. They're responsible for the homelessness crisis because they're the ones controlling property prices. They're also responsible for all of the food prices that are going up. They're responsible for the cheap crap that is flooding our country, our entire world, and polluting all sources of water, all of the land, putting plastic microfibers in our bodies. They're responsible for the chemicals that are poisoning poisoning humans, poisoning the animals, poisoning our water, poisoning our air. Well, they're also responsible for climate change, and they are responsible for way more emissions than cars. The fact that people are like, they went after cars and they're saying, oh, drive less and get electric cars, that's a lie. We produce a fraction of what these companies produce in a day. And cars are not the problem. Our activities are not the problem. It's these companies. One company alone, I believe it's ExxonMobil. It's either Exxon or BP. It could also be Nestle. But one of them produces as much carbon as all people in the United States do in a year. And they do that in a couple days. So the type of damage that we're seeing in general to our world, to ourselves, is primarily allowed by white individuals, because they're the ones that own these companies. They're the ones that are making money off of these companies. And therefore, they're trying to preserve what these companies do. They're greenwashing to make it seem like they're better than they actually are. They hide things. Like Volkswagen got in trouble because they were manipulating the systems in their car to lie about how much emissions that they were producing. We have companies like IKEA and Target and Starbucks that claim that they're eco-friendly, yet they produce some of a tremendous amount of trash in comparison to what we produce. And they also are forcing us to consume it as well because of the way that they combine companies to make us rely on these people. Like, anybody can understand how hard it would be to, like, most people are never going to go to mom and pop shops anymore. Most people in their lives have been to Walmart, have been to Target, have been to Starbucks, have gone to a gas station. All of these places are some of the worst polluters on the planet in history. And they do more of this in the last 20 years than we've done in our entire lifetime. One of my favorite quotes is that if you take the entire life of the world into a 24-hour clock, dinosaurs died at 11:45 p.m. before midnight. And humans showed up about, I think it was a minute or 2 minutes before midnight. And the pollution that is contributing to climate change has only been around for a fraction of a second. So if the world existed in just a day, we've done all of this damage right before it ticks to midnight. And if you put that into perspective, it's crazy to think about how tragic that is, that we're living through this. We're watching us destroy our own planets, and it's perpetrated by a handful of individuals. It's not us. They're the ones that are making us rely on those systems, and they make us think that it's our fault, because if they can shift the burden to us, it allows them to get away with it and shift the eyes away from them, and making us realize that if we cut them off, we can actually prevent a lot of this damage. But they don't want that because they want their money.
Exactly why I said, was it yesterday? They don't really want to give us anything, but because they don't want to hear our mouth, they kind of just, so we'll shut up. That most people will shut up. But you talking about cutting off food stamps, you're going to have some problems. You're really about to have problems. If you think people that showed up for that No Kings was something, wait until you shut that down. And I just had a conversation with somebody who didn't believe me. I told her, hey, in like a week or so, yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. They really are about to do that. I don't know how much more the American people have to endure before they say, all right, forget about all of our differences. They doing way too much. Let's go ahead and make our voices heard. It's time. I'm sick of this. Like, for real. A lot of folks are about to be starving out here. You don't understand this.
There's a quote that I love from Pearl Buck. She's an author who has written about humanity in certain ways. One of her quotes is, "Hunger makes a thief of any man." And then she's also said, "A hungry man can't see right or wrong. He just sees food." And people, or our government, the billionaires, they don't know what's coming because we've never lived in a society, or most people alive today in America have not lived in a society where you couldn't readily access food. Some people have been in that situation, if they've been homeless, if they've been extremely poor. But we've never had a point in modern history where the majority of Americans were feeling that. And if they think we're not going to do anything, they don't even know what's coming. Because if we have nothing to live for, if we are all struggling to eat, if we're struggling to get by and can't even get a house, people are, as we said, they're living in storage units just to be able to have a roof over their head. Once we get to the point where we have nothing, we aren't working, we are trying to grow weeds outside so we can eat, we have all the time in the world to come after them.
Shit, to be for real, at this point, we might as well start growing our stuff again. Especially if we got a yard. Like, I would highly suggest people just get all them weeds out, get all that, and start growing your own stuff. That's how it was once upon a time. Go back to it. It might take a little more work, and you ain't swiping a card, but you will be more appreciative of it, and you're going to definitely save a lot of money. Just it's time to find ways to counter the measures that they are implementing on the people. I think we just forget sometimes how greedy this nation is and how much has been covered up. We done put the environment through so much alone. Don't forget about just the school shootings and all that. Just the environment alone. What was a few weeks back with that trash that was in the ocean and something?
Microplastics.
Yeah. Like, we have taken a toll on this earth.
Not to mention, we can't neglect the link between environmental violence and human violence, because with environmental damage, you have food issues, food insecurity, because when you have these extreme climate swings, what you see is the normal becomes more extreme on both ends. So it's one of the misnomers is that global warming is just going to make everything hotter, but it's not true, because of the way that the water in the atmosphere, the way that temperatures in the atmosphere have to bounce back and forth, and they swing back and forth based on whether there's low and high pressure systems. Because if you have high pressure systems, that basically is because the heat is rising up, and that causes the formation of clouds. Where you have low pressure systems, that's when you have really calm weather, but it gets really cold, or colder than it would, depending on how long that low pressure system lasts or how long the high pressure system lasts. And so with climate change, it increases the fluctuations between high pressure and low pressure. And so instead of having mild winter with some rain, and then you have your summer with some heat, you're going to have hot summers, hot, dry summers with no rain. While other people in other areas during their summers are going to have thunderstorm after thunderstorm, tornadoes, hurricanes, massive rain events. And then you'll swing back to winter. And so the people that are in high precipitation areas, they're going to have feet of snow for weeks on end. And then, I mean, this is getting to be the worst case scenario. Right now, we're still kind of in the like 1 year on, 1 year off, where some of the years are bad, some of the years are a little bit fine. But as we get further into this damage, we're going to be seeing, like, no matter where you live, your winters are going to be excruciatingly cold, and you're either going to have like years of drought, or you're going to have rain all the time, and you're going to be hit with flooding, massive events that no one in history has seen. And you could literally fluctuate between having drought and then over the winter you flood everything. And the other issue with that is when you have drought, then rain, drought, then rain. When you have a drought, it hardens the ground, and so it actually can make the ground hydrophobic, as well as after fires. If you have a really bad fire, it makes the top layer of soil hydrophobic. And so instead of soaking into the ground, the water literally just runs off the land as an entire river. And so you have any low-lying areas, if you're by a river, by a lake, by the ocean, you can see like feet of flooding in a matter of minutes. We saw that happen in Texas over the summer, or like a couple months ago. I think it was August maybe, where overnight, like in a matter of hours, I think it was like less than 5 hours, some areas got 30 feet of water because all of that rain was washing into the river all at once. And this is the type of thing that we're going to see, because now weather events are going to get sandwiched into smaller and smaller moments of time. Like we saw with Hurricane Helene, in 12 hours, they got about, I think it was like 5 years worth of rain in one sitting. That happened in California too, where we had a drought and then we had a rainstorm that brought like a decade's worth of rain in a couple days. One time, this wasn't in our lifetime, but in it was 1911. No, why am I forgetting the date? 17. It was 1811. We had in California a massive storm that lasted about 3 weeks, and the entire Central Valley was filled with 10 to 30 feet of water. And this is the type of future that we can expect regularly. But with the fluctuation, like with all of this, when you have the extreme droughts, when you have these flooding events, farmlands are going to be decimated. You're going to have certain areas that are going to be completely wiped out. You have farmlands that are submerged. Those foods are no longer good, especially because it causes them to rot, even when if it dries out. And then obviously, sometimes it'll literally just like wipe the soil off the face of the earth in that location. And so obviously your crops are going to be gone. Also, with floodings and with fires, when those run through, it contaminates the soil. It leaves heavy metals, it leaves chemicals, it leaves glass, it leaves broken like trash, plastic trash, even human remains. Like it'll leave behind a bunch of stuff that makes the ground unusable for a long time, if not forever. There's certain areas in Pennsylvania, in Virginia, in was it Indiana and Illinois? A lot of areas really, where they've had major floods, they've had major fires, and people are not able to move back there because the chemical damage is so severe and the nutrient deficiency is so severe. Additionally, when you have these types of events, people lose their homes, people lose their stuff, people lose their lives. And when you have people that lose their home in a time where it's already hard for anyone to get a home, you're going to have massive numbers of people turning up homeless all at the same time. I believe like over 1,000 people were made homeless just with the fires in California in 2023, for the 1 year Malibu. And only, I think it was like 7% of them were actually granted access to their original properties and were told they could move back there. And the majority of that land was bought up by corporations, the rest of that land. And this type of stuff that's happening, your house is disappearing, your food disappearing, access to clean water disappearing, is going to increase the risk of violence. Because number one, people are going to get so desperate, they're going to have to rely on like stealing food or moving to different places. And so the places that are still intact are going to be overfilled and are going to be a lot more populated. And when you have higher densities of populations, you're also more likely to have increased crime. Because again, if you're competing for the same resources and you get an increase of, say, 10 million people, imagine what that's going to do to that city. Like, imagine if LA all of a sudden had to absorb the cities of San Jose and San Diego all at once because those places became uninhabitable. That would cause so much turmoil because, one, you'd have groups of people having to merge in with other groups of people that don't want them there. We see this with migration. Like when there's a massive event in another country and people start migrating to a different country, they're forced out, or people shame them or get mad that they're coming there. They fight for their government to prevent migrants from coming in. Like we've even been seeing this with Ukraine and with Hamas and Palestine. When people are moving from these countries to other areas, they start to close their borders. They don't want more people there. They already struggle to take care of the people that they do have. And so we're going to see more wars. We're going to see more infighting in communities. We're going to see more crimes of desperation, carjackings, stealing, like pickpocketing, breaking and entering, all that type of stuff that we can see. Not to mention, you're also going to have an increase in illnesses, all those chemicals, the post-traumatic issues. You're also more likely to get sick if you're exposed to tainted soils, because the floods will bring in bacteria, will bring in funguses, will bring in mold. The fires will cause, even for people that live out of the range of the fire, the smoke causes a lot of damage to the lungs. And right now, even in LA without fires going on, living in LA, in downtown LA, is the equivalent of smoking one cigarette a day, or a pack of cigarettes a day, because the pollution is so bad. Over the summer in the Midwest around Illinois, Indiana, I think it went down to like Kentucky, their air quality, this especially happens with low pressure systems because it prevents the air from like moving out elsewhere. It was so bad that they had to put out an alert to people it wasn't even like, oh, be cautious. It was like, if you're old or young or you have a health condition, do not go outside. You will die. And they had to put out an emergency alert to people for, I think it lasted like 2 or 3 days, where it was literally deadly for people with fragile lungs or fragile hearts to go outside. And this is going to also happen more frequently. So imagine the type of duress that people are going to be under. And we all know how people act when they're stressed out. This is not going to improve as time goes on unless we start to actually do something about it and start to adapt. So this is all to say, with the environmental damage, we can also expect our own lives to be impacted by violence from other people. It's not just hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding that we have to worry about, fires. It's other people as well. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of people like to separate violence from the environment, from our mental health, from our health, but they're all interconnected. Our health is affected when we're exposed to violence. Our health is affected when we're exposed to environmental damage, and our communities, our cohesiveness as a society is also impacted by violence and environmental damage. And so they all really create their own feedback loops where the worse one gets, the worse the other ones are also going to get.
I swear, I thought we already knew this. I mean, I don't have your brain, but I have eyes and I have ears, and I'm a very observant person for years and years and years. You can see it. It's no different than watching the leaves change and transition through the seasons from being exuberant and green and flush to them starting to slowly decay, going from bright, dark green to tinge to orange to red to yellow to brown. That's the timeline that I got in my head when I'm listening to the politics. I'm listening to these businessmen and these businesswomen, blah, 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 looking at their device, reading off of the phone, whatever they like. Prayers for the country. Prayers for us. That's all I can really say, man. I mean, in a perfect world, the neighborhood would smell like apples and oranges and like that scent of fresh greens, fresh cut. Just, oh man, I know there's still places like that, but you smell nothing but gas emissions and smoke and just, it's not, just thinking about it got me hungry, for real, for real. Oh man. SM, what's going on? We just don't care enough. We do and we don't. Clearly, we've seen people, and I don't even want to sit here and say that people don't care. I don't think enough people care. Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Happy B-Day. Happy B-Day. That's what's up. That's what's up. Oh, I guess you can get in chat again. That's what's up too.
I figured out that if I go on my other email, it lets me do the chat, but if I join the email that you send my links to, then it thinks that I'm just the creator, so it doesn't let me do chat. So
Gotcha. Yeah, another wake up call. That's all this video was about, or this stream was about. You touched on things that I wasn't even taking into consideration initially, but I already had the inkling that you would address those other spots. Something that we should be thinking about as well. It's just we got to do better. That's all to it. So, all right. To close out, right? We've pretty much addressed a lot of it. So, just to even do one little thing to make something different, what could we address moving forward? At least you can't we're not gonna storm the White House or nothing like that and take over. But we can start with petitions, or we can start with reposting, or we could, like, what would you want to tackle and build on, like, in increments? $47. Hey, we all accept gifts. Guess what? You got the gift of life. You got the gift of life. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't got a single thing for my birthday since I was 16 years old. I don't even think, do people even still do things? Maybe it's just me. I haven't done anything for my birthday in years. It's just it's my birthday, but it's just like another day. I'm grateful that I woke up, but I'm not expecting anything. I don't even advertise my birthday. Like, unless you follow me on Facebook or something and the calendar says it, you wouldn't know. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. I heard it. I heard it went well. I heard it went well. But yeah, a lot of food for thought. I appreciate you, SM, for pulling up. We'll be back later on. Is my volume not working or something?
No, it's
Yeah, I'm tripping because she's saying wave if she sees. I don't know if she can hear or not. That's probably what it is. Maybe it's something going on with her audio or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, look into some petitions. Look into what you can do in your community to make your voice heard a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest, at least, use your wards, use your government, your mayors, any platforms that's out there that allows you to say, well, look, I'm not happy with the conditions here. Say something. Like, we need to have a lot more stations, because this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I would definitely address, if you still need that petition, I still have it if y'all want to look into that, because they really are trying to cut off people's food stamps. I'm not really feeling that. I hope you have a great birthday. Like, many people are not living past 10 years old. And that's real talk.
Yeah. To add to what you said, finding your community is a huge component, because one of the lies that these companies have taught us, and again, this also would help with the other issue, the issue of violence. Finding your community is a great way to find self-reliance again, Because as I said, these companies have tricked us into thinking that we need to be satiated, we need to be happy and content, and we need to embrace greed, essentially, to be happy. And that is simply not true. We don't need them. We don't need to rely on them. We don't have to wait for these rich people to give us what they think that we want. We have been here for thousands upon thousands of years, and we got here by working together. We lived in tribes. We lived in small little communities in tiny little towns. And through that, we've grown our own food. We've learned to make clothes. We've learned to till the land and create all sorts of amazing feats of architecture and art. And we used to even have a relationship with the environment, and we understood how to work with it in a way that it benefited us without us having to do damage to the environment. Of course, we've always had our impacts on the environment, as predators do. But we used to pay attention, and we used to see these impacts and make adjustments to make sure that we didn't run out of buffalo, that we didn't just drain the stream or the river or the lake that we were using to feed our entire families. We had more of a respect for the things that we were given because we understood that it could be taken away. But now, with our reliance on these huge companies, we forget that this stuff doesn't have to be here, that it's not always going to be here, and that if they go, we're going to be helpless, because most people these days, they don't know how to grow food. They don't even know, like, most people can't even keep a potted plant alive. I, for one, I don't even know how to keep a cactus alive. I had one in college and it deflated. Like, I don't even know what I did. I looked at it and it died. So we have most people wouldn't know how to make their own clothes. Most people wouldn't know how to purify their own water. And these are the things that we have to do together. The other myth that they've pushed on us is that we can all be self-sufficient, that we don't need anybody. You can do it all by yourself. You just have to pay your way there. And again, that splits us up as community members, because we think, oh, well, I don't need the family down the street. Like, I don't need my neighbors. I don't need my local shopkeeper. I don't need to care about all these people around me, because we're so used to, like, oh, I want this. Okay, click. I have it now. It's coming to my house. And it's a dangerous thing, because this type of reliance is going to make us vulnerable to things that are bound to happen in the future. If we don't know our community members, we are less likely to survive disasters, because our community members might be the only ones who are willing to come door to door and let us know our fire is right down the street. They might be the only people that are willing or able to come into your neighborhood and rescue you when you've been stranded inside your house after a tornado, or the only people that might think to check on you after the whole area had gotten hit by a flood. And not to mention, by working in communities, you're more aware of the health of everyone around you. You're more likely to notice impacts. For example, there's a community in Monterey, in the Monterey area towards the San Francisco Bay Area, Moss Landing. And I think we actually did a thing on it like last year, but they had a power plant catch on fire, and it was spreading toxic chemicals in the air around the city. And it was the community members that got together and pushed for the Environmental Protection Agency to start actually investigating, because the government wasn't going to. And it was the community members that made sure it got tested. And they were the ones that were coming forward with the symptoms, collaborating with each other. Like, okay, you're having these symptoms, they're having these symptoms, my kids are having these symptoms. And so by working together, they were able to figure out the impacts that they were experiencing, and they were able to gain movement in doing something about it. And these are just all small examples of how community can help you just in a disaster. But also it can even help with violence, because a huge similarity with all these people that have committed these acts of violence, the shootings that she was showing, a lot of them were very like socially like what's the word? Like they're kind of like hermits. They weren't really interested in socialization. They kept to themselves. They were very quiet. They didn't really get out there in the community. And on the flip side too, the community members are going to be the ones that notice these things. If they see kids playing with their kids that have strange characteristics or showing an interest in guns or something like that, if they're not around the community members, they're less likely to be noticed, especially like if the parents aren't able to be around all the time. Like the neighbors might be the ones that are like, hey, I saw this kid like playing with the gun and he seems like really strange. Like maybe you should look into this, or bringing it up to the parents themselves. Community members are the ones that look out for each other, or should be looking out for each other, because you could very well be affected by your very neighbors. So just the awareness of each other, what each other needs, is a really huge component. And then also working together to get those resources. As I said, we used to live in small towns where some people would be planting the crops, some people would be getting together and helping make the clothes. Everyone had their own role, but they all worked together to make things work. And this is what we're missing now. As I said, we rely heavily on companies to do this for us, even though we have the capacity to do this. And I mean, there's so many million more people now, billion more people, that we could very easily do all of these things ourselves and work together. Like you could have that neighbor who's really good at making clothes. She could make the clothes, where the people that have a green thumb, they can make the food. And then the people that are like good with kids, they can help watch the kids and teach the kids. Like we don't need all of these corporatized organizations to do this stuff for us. And they keep tricking us into thinking that we do need it. That's why we have an addiction to social media. We have an addiction to consumption. We have an addiction to sugar. We have an addiction to like being lazy, really. So, and also, I could actually probably even do an episode on this, but talking about how even the format of our cities makes us needy. By making a car central city, it makes it much harder to have community oriented ways of living. So yeah, having community is super important for our mental health, for our physical health, for our environmental health, and just to get rid of our reliance on these huge companies that want nothing more than our money and to destroy our civilization so they can have their rich, fancy mansion and whatnot. I also have a poem that I can end with if you'd like, but I wanted to let you respond too.
You got it. I'm gonna let you close out with that. I want to say thank you for just everything, man. Everything. For the wise words, for dropping these gems. And salutes to everybody. Happy birthday again, SM. To answer your question, what I mean was I didn't know that you used your channel, like your YouTube channel. But you said you possibly was gonna go live. I didn't. I'm gonna have to check that out. So if you do decide to, I'll pull up. You know what I'm saying? That's all I meant. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to you. I'm gonna let you close this out. And yeah, I'll see you guys later this evening. Hold on.
Also, I'll talk to you tomorrow I'll talk to you today about the topic for tomorrow. We could even do the car-centric cities since I just brought it up.
Gotcha.
Okay. So this poem is called "Oh God, the Humans." Oh humans, the mightiest to adapt with mind, yet gaining vices and victims through fire, through tools, and through tech, gaining our power through invention and responsibilities that we pass on to others. The supposed champion of the secret societies, of civility, of compassion, yet the model of misplaced maturity. The proclaimed rulers of this finite universe with an infinite reach for immensity, for permanence, for kingly acclaim. We execute our will and our way. We disregard for the neighbors that stay. We strive for environmental domination, societal peakness, ultimate meaning, yet we claim to have replaced the master creator. Instead, we ourselves are only the master manipulator. O humans, blessed with, commanded to, be kind, to love, to accept those less than, yet we demand to be equal to kings as fools.
You guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon, 7 p.m. We'll be back.
Can you say happy birthday? Happy?
Happy
Birthday.
birthday.
It ain't even my birthday, and that was that made me smile, man. Hey, I'll see you guys later on. Y'all take care. You know how to reach us if you need to. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired of the brain on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums.